Hey family, this is Andre Melton, the executive producer and one of the founders of The Flex Zone. Make sure y'all come out July 14th at 7 p.m. as we have a live broadcast. Yes, y'all, The Flex Zone will be live from the Hotel RL in Baltimore. For more information, go to our Facebook page, The Flex Zone, or go to Instagram and Twitter at The Flex Zone 1, or send an email to theflexzone1@gmail.com and come on out and support us, y'all.
What's up, everybody? This is Tavon Mason, former New York Jet, wide receiver. You tuning into The Flex Zone. Yeah.
To most people, it's a day like any other day, but it's not, because it's the day the Flex Zone returns back to your airwaves. Because what are we? We're the show that gives you your sports how you want it when you need it. I'm your host, Mikael Ramos, and usual suspects in the house tonight. Roger, D, Cravante, Dre. Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
What's
what
going
it do?
on?
What it do?
What's good, everybody?
Byron, not here, but another close to being a usual suspect that's in his chair is Terrell.
What's happening? What's happening?
How are you?
Great as always.
You getting used to being on this mic? Because, you know, you as an intern, you're getting a little bit, you're getting too much. I want my personal opinion.
I'm here.
Short, sweet, to the point. Okay, remember, people, welcome to the Flex Zone. Again, because our only home, if you seem to forget, Fox Sports 3040 AM. Go like us on our Facebook page, The Flex Zone. Follow us and comment on Twitter and Instagram at The Flex Zone 1. If you have any questions, ideas, or possibly want to be a guest, send us an email to theflexzone1@gmail.com. Subscribe to that ever-changing, ever-growing YouTube channel. Tonight's show, first part of our show, a documentary like no other that we must discuss. The second part of our show, basketball is over, people. With one Game 7, the dog days of summer have begun, as this is the first day of summer. Welcome. First offhand, O.J. Simpson Made in America. Now, I don't know if any of you have been watching it out there, but this is the first documentary, the first thing that's ever come on in a long time that has had me with the emoji face glued to the TV. I could not stop watching it. Even if I missed a part, the next part still had me glued in. O.J. Simpson Made in America, people. 5 parts to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts to it. All good, all relevant, all information that you never thought you'd get, something you never thought of, everything embodied, the man that was O.J., what he went through, his family, everything. O.J. made in America, but also turned on by America. D, you watched some parts of the documentary. Let me get a quick synopsis on it from you.
I mean, it just showed from OJ's playing career all the way up until pretty much now when he went to jail a couple of years ago. He was an interesting individual. He wanted to be kind of his own thing, his own fame, and not saying not worry about nobody else, but really.
No, you're right.
Pretty much like Cravante. He pretty much wanted to be his own thing. And it's funny, he got off because he embraced himself being African American, but then he couldn't handle not being OJ anymore, and that's why he's pretty much in jail now.
Cravante?
Man, what a it's like he went to the mountaintop and then hit the ground toward the highest of highs and the absolute lowest of lows, man. Like, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. Everybody loved him. And then it just all stopped.
O.J. Simpson. When you think of O.J. Simpson, in the time that O.J. Simpson was in, you had Muhammad Ali, you had all these black athletes being activists. Mm-hmm. He took a lesser role. He took the role less traveled. He took the likable role. He took the role less traveled. He took the likable role. He took the let me try to appeal to a whole other audience and be a whole other thing. What is the definite role of the black athlete in the spotlight? Now, when I say this, I have to go through some names first that popped into my head. Allen Iverson. Guys like Allen Iverson. You have guys like him that can define a culture. But because he did nothing but be himself within that culture, the appeal kind of sort of, some people go back and forth. with your appeal on Allen Iverson. To me, I think the appeal that Allen Iverson had was just as much as Michael Jordan's. Especially, and Allen Iverson made you feel like he could walk into your living room, sit down next to you. You could watch a game with him, and your mother could make some greens and be like, "Hey, Al, you want some Bubba Chuck?" Okay. Then we have Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, clean cut. Miss El Capitan, as Dre likes to say.
El Capitan. Derek Jeter
has done everything right of everything you can do in the spotlight that we've seen. He hasn't had any outside the lines videos yet in movies. Nothing has come out bad about Derek Jeter. He's been called a class act on and off the mound. A la esque Tim Duncan, if we float right into that in the NBA. The most fundamentally sound NBA player or athlete, period, and does it in silence, but does it with class. Then you have Kobe Bryant. You get into this. Kobe start off your clean cut, White America loves Sprite commercials. And then you have Kobe after the trial, and Kobe becomes not this quintessential beloved guy anymore. He has to turn into the guy that remembered his roots. As a fan, I remember that. Then you have Magic Johnson, Mr. Loved by All, and then has this insurmountable disease, and then truly is loved by all, and now he's become one of those faces for power. Then you have Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. We all know what Michael Jordan did. And then you kind of go into guys like Tiger Woods and relates to Kobe Bryant. Everybody loved him. Then you fall from grace so easily because, oh my God, I can't believe he could do such a thing. And then you have guys like Ray Lewis and Ray Rice. Ray Rice, you become the poster child of what not to do. Domestic violence, unfortunately. You become ostracized. Or you become Ray Lewis, and we already know that you're a monster on the field. Some would think that you're a monster off the field. We have that trial, and still you eventually return back into the graces. All these different athletes, all different points in time, some same points in time, all different relevancy to the spotlight that is called the spotlight when you are an athlete. What role is the black athlete in the spotlight? Dre, you're looking at me. Go ahead.
I want to take it back a little bit. And I believe it was part one of the documentary that it really depends upon the time. When OJ was called upon, that was the end of civil rights during that time, because you had people, they were saying that at one time OJ was more popular than Muhammad Ali and Hank Aaron during that era. And this was coming off an era where you had people like Bill Russell, Jim Brown, I believe Wilt Chamberlain was there too. When they were all gathering around as athletes to defend Muhammad Ali. And during this time, OJ is still in his collegiate career, and they're asking him questions because everybody knew at that time OJ was going to be the next big thing. They saw it out of his sophomore year when they won the championship that year, that OJ was going to be something big, and OJ was really ducking these issues, and he didn't want anything to do with touching any issues because OJ wanted to protect OJ. Now, when you fast forward a little bit, the people that you named, such as Iverson, Jeter, they all protected. I mean, well, they didn't protect their brand, but they're their own entity in of themselves. A great comparison that you made was Tiger Woods, and that to me is probably
Perfect.
the one
That's
that
perfect. That's
hits
perfect.
because, and that's something I never even thought about, was that if you really want to compare somebody, it would be Tiger Woods, because this is Tiger Woods is somebody who also strayed away from being labeled as an African American, and we just saw Tiger Woods as the man. Honestly, I mean, even in the black community, we tried to claim Tiger, but Tiger seemed like he didn't want nothing to do with being viewed as a black man. Instead, Tiger Woods wanted to be viewed as Tiger Woods. Same thing with O.J. Simpson. He wanted to be viewed as O.J. Simpson, the man, not O.J. Simpson, a black man.
Well, let's
and when both people fell off from grace, it was our community that was there to kind of help them out. Now, Tiger Woods hasn't been the same since. And look at OJ right now. OJ's locked up.
It's the same thing. It's so funny because they tried to veer away from the black community, but yet and still, in the end, they still found their way, like, being black, even though they tried not to be. They still
but
got
that's
caught
their
up.
prestige to a degree because, there was a part in the documentary where after the trial was over, and you felt kind of bad because after the trial was over, OJ thought that he could go back to his normal life. He thought he could go, what was it, Brentwood? He thought he could go to the same country clubs. He thought he could be in the same community with white people and still be accepted. But those were the main people that hated him. And then when it came to a point where he went to the black community, you saw him in churches and our churches and chicken. And even his own agent was like, when does OJ ever been to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles? But at the same time, it was like, so now you want to be black. Now you want to, look at Kobe. Kobe was the Sprite commercial, quintessential cookie cutter Oreo type of guy. And when that's the type of athlete you kind of sort of have to be. You have to be this Oreo figure that can play both sides. But then after the trial, when he was in the midst of his rape trial, the tattoos insinuated and he was wearing these big chains. He was part of the hip hop culture. You kind of felt bad for OJ. Because either way, he was ostracized, but you kind of felt like he victimized himself. But to a degree, who's more to blame? OJ himself? Is he a victim of his people, the white people, Caucasians, or is he back where he belongs with us? Roger, you've been pretty quiet. It's been hard to dissect who OJ Simpson is. Who is OJ Simpson? We know who he is. But does he know who did? But all of this is his life. It seemed like it's because he didn't know. He hasn't found his identity.
Well, throughout his life, in the documentary, one of his best friends seen his dad with another guy, and
His father was gay.
yeah, his father was gay, and they never really talked about it. So I don't think really OJ really knew who OJ really was. He was just going through life trying to be the best athlete, the best person that he could possibly be, but he didn't take into account that he needed his peers support, like the Muhammad Ali's and what's his name, Jim Brown and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He didn't take full effect of that, and he tried to disown somewhat of his own blackness.
I'm just to really touch on something that Roger said in the documentary when he said that his friend, I don't remember his like one of his best friends growing up, tried to like pull OJ aside one day and I think it was, I believe, part 2 of the documentary where one of OJ's friends is telling him like, these people don't, like you for being a black person. They like you just for being OJ, and if something ever was to happen, then you'll still be viewed as a black man. And OJ kind of just laughed it off and just kept
Said,
playing
I'm OJ.
tennis.
Said,
I
am OJ.
And just kept playing tennis.
He became a victim to his own fame. He became a victim to who he had became. Jim Brown wasn't running through Hertz commercials saying "Run OJ, run." And at that time, where you had the throwing up the fists at the Olympics, and you had all these declarations of black power, for O.J. Simpson to turn his back and be the people's champ and not his people's champ, it's kind of sort of uncanny, especially in a period where you have Muhammad Ali. I have to ask you, before I get into the trial itself, O.J. Simpson's trial makes up for Rodney King, correct? Some would say.
So, okay, yeah, some would say. Some would say.
So Zimmerman makes up for O.J. as divided as white America and black America was.
OJ kind of canceled himself out.
So, and if that's the case, OJ getting off, is that just a black man in America accused of a crime that just so happens to work in his favor, or is that just a rich man with the right team behind him with the money to get those type of people that he had that got off? I mean, we say the same thing about celebrities. If you were Chris Brown and doing the stuff Chris Brown was doing, you'd be in the legal trouble you were being, but you would not be sitting here.
Right.
Chris Brown has nothing against him, but he has the money and everything to kind of sort of help the cause.
Well, it's a little combination of everything. If you have the money, that definitely helps. But it's also the aura of who these people are. I mean, a lot of people still viewed O.J. Simpson as O.J. Simpson. So that you have to take that into account. What you was talking about with Chris Brown, a lot of people supported Chris Brown throughout the whole Rihanna situation, and then even through his legal troubles, you still have those hardcore fans who support you no matter what you do. So it's a combination of both, your likability and the money that you have.
It's funny me watching OJ and watching this documentary because the trial ended September 26, 1995. My birthday is September 28th. I was born in 1988, but at that point I would be turning what would have been my 7th birthday. So, to me growing up, I just knew OJ got off. I just knew we knew about the Bronco. We laughed at the Bronco. We laughed at him going. I mean, they've recreated the Bronco scene a whole bunch of times. Right. We laughed at that. We owned the glove.
The glove was great.
Everybody knows if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Yeah. Everybody knows that saying. But you don't know within this generation the importance of that statement and Johnny making that statement in the background of this trial. The what was going on in L.A. at the time. Our generation may have been in that time, but we are not of that time. So with that said, what did you learn?
I learned that you cannot run away when you're black. There is no running away, and trust me, O.J. Simpson was a great runner. He was an awesome runner. I mean, 2,000 yards in 14 games is amazing, but you can't run from everything, especially when you black. That's what I got from it. And if you can't beat the justice system.
What I learned from this was O.J. the football player was definitely different from O.J. the private person. O.J. the private person was a monster from what I learned from this film. From him beating his wife and just acting all kinds of crazy.
But you know what's funny? In the documentary on their first date, which he was legally married on their first date with a black woman. So his first date, Nicole actually mentioned to her best friend, he came off aggressive because she had holes in her pants or something. But she was like, I still like him. So kind of, sort of, she knew
what she was getting into.
I want to say she knew what she getting into, but she knew she didn't know who OJ was, but that should have been kind of sort of a sign, right? Because it's crazy how much as white America made OJ, they said that he was brought to her house and they didn't know who he was. They didn't know who OJ Simpson was. She was just 18 at the time.
Right. Which is all crazy in itself that these people, I mean, OJ was
She was just working at a bar.
He was, the fact that OJ was known worldwide and these people didn't know who OJ Simpson was, it shows you a divide in culture. But what I learned definitely from this documentary was that your fall from grace, when you fall,
once
like
you
that,
fall,
like that, and it's like that.
Depending on how you fall, America is not that forgiving.
No.
Depending on what you do to fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Michael Vick, there's still people, as much as he did for the Eagles and as much as he became the comeback king, there's still people that hate Michael Vick. Right. We all saw what happened when he tried to go to Pittsburgh. They were protesting.
And one other thing I wanted to say that I learned too is that OJ should have stayed with his wife originally, because we didn't hear about any of these stories when he was married to his black wife. I didn't hear any stories about him abusing her or anything like that. It seemed like
she's a black woman.
In the film, it says he was never really home to
even be around.
Yeah, to be around her like that.
Which is probably just as bad.
Yeah. Because,
you know what I'm saying, his kids growing up without him, and she's alone.
Yeah.
Like, it's not but so long you going to take that.
O.J. Simpson may or may not be getting out pretty soon.
He's not.
If he does resurface again,
I think he does.
Do we really care?
No.
No, I don't think nobody care like that.
Nah, after seeing this, I don't think anybody cares.
And
I don't think anybody's cared after the trial.
Yeah, between-
Honestly, to me, he hasn't really
then
been.
they say that they found a gun buried
yeah.
behind his old home, and
I mean,
It
to
was
me,
a lot. It was a lot.
To me, he
It was a
hasn't
lot.
really
It was a
been.
lot.
He hasn't really been that relevant since the trial, though. Honestly,
But you
To
know what?
me.
That trial wasn't even a trial. It was more like a celebrity show.
Right. It was
It
like
was a
really.
Johnny
drama. It was a
Cochran.
drama.
It was
and
like the
the-
beginning of like the TMC era and the news
Yeah.
era that just bombard you with stuff consistently.
well, when we come back off the break, Twitter poll. The what poll?
The
Dave?
Twitter.
We got a poll for you on OJ, and we got somebody that's not running away. They're mostly running away with the title. Let's go on to some NBA next. It's the Flex Zone.
Fox Sports 1340 AM listeners, we present to you now Caravante's Fun Facts, sponsored by.
The Amazon link at the top of Fox Sports 1340 AM. We all are Amazon users, and we love Amazon. You can get a variety of items at a nice discount. All items from A to Z. Game 7 of the finals becomes the highest rated NBA game ever on the ABC, with an 18.9 overnight rating. Along with the Cleveland Cavaliers getting their first NBA title, LeBron James becomes the third player with a triple-double in Game 7 of the finals.
And we're back. I hope you missed us. And if you did, you must know who we are again. We are the Flex Zone, the place where you can just sports how you want it, when you need it. And Fox Sports 1340 AM, our home to be exact. You can never forget that. We had a, what do you call it, D?
The Twitter poll.
Yes, we have a Twitter poll. And that Twitter poll, should OJ be released from jail? Yes, no. Yes, no. See or no. Simple as it is. Again, we're moving forward. Now, OJ Simpson may have been running from his own personal identity within our society, but someone else that will never be able to run away from his personal identity in our society and in the basketball world is LeBron James. That freak of nature, that superhuman, he's awesome. And guess what he did? He propelled his Cleveland Cavaliers to not only come and tie the series coming back from a 3-1 deficit, they defeat the Golden State Warriors last night in what happened to be the most epicest, is that a word? No, but I'm going to claim it. Epicest Game 7 I've ever watched. I was on the edge of the bed, oh my God. And it was like, it reminded me of when I was a little girl and I used to watch the Lakers games and I used to sit in front of the TV like, Shaq, please make the free throw. Please, Shaq, make the free throw. I just need you to make one or two, baby. Just make the free throw. I was really sitting there on the edge of the bed. My cat kept trying to jump on everything. I kept yelling at him, shooting him out the room. That's how intense this game was. The final score, ladies and gentlemen, 93-89. I'm going to say something first about, we're going to talk about LeBron James first. I'm going to switch it around. And then I'm going to talk about Cleveland. Together, that's how you win a championship. Individually, we are all just a piece. Everyone had to have their role. Everyone has to have their piece. LeBron James. That's cute. That's nice. Lifetime movie, Hallmark card. However, we all know that this NBA Finals, and whether it was won or not, on the Cleveland Cavaliers side was all about one man, one sound, two syllables, one word, greatness. LeBron James. LeBron, let's go back, shall we? The decision and what happened to be Miami. The spectacle that was on ESPN. A lot of people don't like that. But he brings Miami a championship. He left Cleveland based on some, at that point, they weren't ready to give him any help.
No.
They weren't ready for him to be who he is now. Griffin, the general manager, basically denouncing him, tearing him down. At that point when he left, we saw the burned jerseys. We saw the burned witness signs. We saw a riot that happened in Cleveland when he left. Then we have the return, gentlemen. The return that vowed in that return back to Cleveland, a championship, will be brought to his beloved hometown. And coming back to Cleveland this time, the man's in total control. We see Kevin Love. We see Kyrie Irving. We see everything, even as far as the coaching and the management of how the team is constructed behind LeBron James's vision. He put the city on his back, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth player in NBA history to win Finals MVP and MVP. Finals MVP and win the chip. About the fourth, fifth, right? About the fourth, fifth. I read fourth earlier today. He's a fifth.
Fourth player in NBA history to win 3 titles and 4 MVPs.
5. Excuse me. First NBA Finals triple-double in NBA Finals Game 7 since James Worthy.
Big game, James.
Gang James, baby.
And more historical stats that go on. He also goes on to say there were a few writers this year that said this isn't the guy who can bring a championship anymore. His title days are over. I guess I used it as a little motivation. I guess I proved them wrong. With all that said, from all of that, his timeline to now, the decision to the return to now, all the historical banter, everything. What are we saying about the legacy now?
Yeah,
You
he's
wanna
been
cry?
saved. My bad, Dre.
No,
And,
no,
but-
no,
and
go-
before
no.
you guys say that, before you go into your comments, we're doing things a little different out here, folks. You're going to get what we feel about the actual game, the X's and O's, what happened on the court. You're going to get that later on because guess what we're going to do? We're going to do a NBA Finals post-game show for you to see, not just for you to hear. So I just wanted to allude to that special for you. This little tidbit on the Flex Zone tonight is a little general. It's about the implications of what this whole thing meant for both teams. So, legacy, LeBron James, now, what does it represent?
Actually, you know what? I would love for D to go ahead because
Yes, I've been
You-
waiting on this.
How many
th-
shots
th-
cannot be fired at this
I,
point?
I haven't been this anxious for a LeBron comment since he won the chip and Skip Bayless had to go on First Take and actually give him a standing ovation.
Well, unlike Skip, that was still trying to dance around stuff, LeBron James made history. He's done one of the things I always wanted him to do, just take over the game. Take over what you can do, and he has the talent to do it. He did it. Kyrie Irving was balling big time with him. They played like Hercules, fought them last 5 games, and they won the NBA title, came back from 3-1, and you can't say much more. LeBron has solidified himself as an all-time great, and no one can take that away from him now.
Man, so are you ready to call him King James?
I call no grown man a king,
Ooh.
Mm.
That's greatness, people.
but he is great. I give him that.
1 word, 2 syllables. And the thing about LeBron James is, before this finals, and if you watch game 1 and 2, he was going to fall under status quo. He would always be a great player, but he will never be really truly accepted in that Mount Rushmore of Kobe, Magic, Mike, everybody. Legacy. This whole thing on legacy and this whole thing about how he matches up to the greats has totally changed. Yes, I'm looking at you. Terrell, your words, my good man.
I mean, this third championship definitely, solidifies his legacy. I feel like, now that he has it and he's finally brought Cleveland a championship, his legacy is no longer up for debate. But if you were to ask me, would I still put him up there with the Magics and the Jordan and the Kareems? No, not yet.
Does the task get harder, Cravante? Because look at it this way. Now, you've done the insurmountable. You've done what nobody said you could do. So now what comes with what you've already had to face, we're gonna back off you a little bit. It's time to, if you're a real hater out there, you stop hating. Put down the haterade. What can you really say? But now the implications are a little bit higher. It has to be consistent. You have to continue. Are we going to talk about the legacy? Are you going to build your legacy based on the dynasty in Cleveland as of now? Are they going to go back to back? Are they going to continue? How many more rings are you going to accumulate? Are you just going to stop at 3? Are these MVPs are going to reign? Are these MVPs you getting, are they reigning out more than your championships? Because when you talk Michael, they matched. When you talk Kobe, he could care less about the MVP. Give me the ring. Or would this have been a different conversation if it would have been a defeat? What now?
Oh my God.
And what's the conversation before? If
Oh
this
my
was a
God.
little bit different.
Kel, you gave me a lot of questions right there. Well, for
Is it
I'll,
too
I'll
much
say,
to work with? I'm
I'll say-
sorry.
no, please.
Okay,
the
great.
more the better. I'm gonna say 1 word, 2 syllables. Complete. I think his legacy is finally complete because he did something nobody has ever done. We all said here that Cleveland was a cursed town.
Yes, we did.
Cleveland will never
It does
prosper.
not rock.
No,
Jim Carrey, it does not rock.
Cleveland will not prosper because of how. Because for one reason or another, they would not prosper. And he did it and not only he just did it, come back from 3-1,
Right.
beat a 73-9
It's
team,
the way he did it, It's the way it
and
happened.
beat the unanimous MVP. All in one. I think his legacy is complete. We can't question him. I think once you get to, you can't question nobody's legacy anymore. I think that means he's complete.
He's complete. However, like I said, what more? Do we expect more? Like I said, Michael accumulated as much rings as MVPs. Kobe, I could care less about the MVPs.
Right.
I don't. You guys making me this individual guy. Yes, that I am, but I don't want them. I'd rather if Kobe could have left with 6, he would have.
Oh yeah, no, without a shadow of a doubt. But I mean,
So with that said, you're at 3. How much more? Your legacy is cemented, but how much more do we have to put the pressure on to not only continue to, you got to continue to be great. This has to keep going. People are going to say, okay, you take the year off. Where's your other one, LeBron? Now it becomes, okay, you're standing next to Mike. You're going to get 6 or you're going to get 7. It's a continuance.
It'll always be a continuance when you have somebody to live up to. I mean, in the past generation, right before LeBron, you're in the conversations with Kobe and Duncan. Prior to that is Jordan. So I mean, the expectations will always be there. The telling part about this series was that for LeBron critics, he finally lived up to what he was supposed to have been doing all along.
Exactly.
And and
So
that like D said, that was always my issue with him.
The fact that he was a man of his word when he came back to Cleveland and he actually brought them a championship. The fact that in this finals he led. We always talk about
Both teams.
if you look at the numbers, we always say LeBron James will be the greatest player statistically ever. And in this series, he did that. He led in points, blocks,
Everything.
steals,
Everything.
rebounds,
Everything.
assists, anything you can name. LeBron was leading the category for both teams. This was history making in of itself, because if he had lost, it would have been history for Golden State. If he had, if being that he did win, it's history making because no team has ever come from 3-1 down to actually win a series. So finally, I think on this day, I think a lot of people are actually really just happy because in their eyes, LeBron lived up to, as D said, he's always had the talent.
Right.
He's had the side. I mean, this is I know some people hate the Stephen A. reference about saying he's a man amongst boys, but literally he is, because LeBron is what 6'8", 260.
Scary.
So I mean,
Scary.
and it's all muscle. So the things that he was doing in this series are things that we've been wanting for LeBron to do for a long time. Work on the post game, driving to the basket, stop settling for jumpers. You're too big for all that. Just go ahead and muscle your way down into the paint and go ahead and get these get the points.
Now to your point about him leading all statistical categories, I've never been a big stat guy because I've seen LeBron put up great numbers and lose.
It looks bad, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I finally got a chance to see it on the court, him dominate. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kyrie
My
had a
Lord.
an absolutely
That three
phenomenal series.
The last
And
five-
that
last
three-
five
And that
games?
dagger, that was a dagger.
Yes, it was.
And I thought it wasn't going in.
I don't think
You know what? Because, I hate to say it, but he had an open look. Curry was on him.
So I told the group, foul him, Dagger.
I'm just saying.
Look, and I think like when you were saying you didn't think it was going to go in, I was one of those people too. I was like, okay, he's going to miss. And when he actually hit it, not to say that, no, I don't think anybody's taking away from the greatness of Kyrie, because Kyrie is a in that superstar category
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
So
And
does
we've all known
this
that for a
answer
while.
my question? I don't know if we got the answer question, because we said LeBron is known for making everybody better. So he did not hurt Kyrie.
No.
If anything, Kyrie elevated who LeBron already is. So the question is switched.
I think this series actually shows something that he was able to do in Miami, where he actually does make teams better and he makes people. He galvanizes the troops. Remember, they were down 2-0, then they were down 3-1. He took this whole team on his back and made them believe, guys, we actually have a chance. They didn't fold. They didn't hold their heads down. They actually were fighting until the very end.
But I'm asking about Kyrie.
I wouldn't even say necessarily that. I would say not to, because he honestly, look at it. He didn't make the team better.
No,
he did
them.
not. He did not make the team
It was
better.
a Herculean effort between two guys. Man.
But what he did not do, he didn't step on Kyrie. He let Kyrie be great. Because I've seen, you know what I'm saying, him go to Miami and things completely changed.
Right.
Kyrie did not change his game at all, and LeBron did not interfere with that.
But before we move on from just talking about LeBron, and I said we weren't going to talk about any implications of what the X's and O's, and we're still not. We're not talking about the court. Got to ask this thing about Kyrie Irving just a little bit. We've all seen what's going on in Oklahoma City at this point. We've had two guys that normally have gone their career neck and neck, toe-to-toe, together. You say the Splash Brothers, then you also talk about Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. And they have no nickname, but they are together. However, in recent years, based on Kevin Durant's injuries and everything of that so forth, Russell Westbrook's emerged. Now, Kyrie Irving's been able to do him and be him. However, with that said, how long will he do him and be him up under a man that's LeBron James before he says, maybe I don't want to be Scotty? And this is pretty cool. And yeah, we may be able to accumulate these things together, but I kind of want to know if I could stand on my own. And he's fairly young enough to be able to make that decision.
It'll happen once he steps into his prime. Once he feels as though, he doesn't need to be a sidekick anymore, where he feels as though, I'm ready to, I want to bring the team the championship the same way, LeBron did. Just like, when I feel like Westbrook did it because he felt as though it's his time now, that he's in that spotlight of someone that can, be the leader of a team. So I feel like for now what they got is working, but I don't see it lasting forever.
Ralph Esperanza, sorry I kept you waiting for so long, just a tad bit. I had to get in with the fellas just a little bit. Our contributor, always our friend. You got me, my brother. You got me, my good man. I put up a good fight with that whole Golden State thing I was projecting. Hey, man, I said Golden State in 6 surprised me in 5. You said Mikal, no. How do you feel about LeBron James in the Cleveland Cavaliers now? Now, when you say this, well, maybe he can get into the X's and O's. We just can't get into the X's and O's. Go ahead, Ralph. My good man.
I was so shocked that you guys are throwing Kyrie Irving in the same word as greatness out there. It's beyond me, a guy that can't play defense against other point guards. But other than that,
but yet we talk about Steph like a dog.
I guess Mario Chalmers in Miami, when he was with Miami with LeBron James, I guess he was greatness as well over there as well. But
come on now, that's not the comparison we was making at all.
No, and I was asking, does LeBron hurt Kyrie, or is Kyrie going to come from within that greatness envelope? But go ahead.
I think Kyrie needs just to be worried about what Kyrie does, not what LeBron does. I think the games that he had good games, he didn't really care about what LeBron was doing. He was hitting the three. He wasn't looking at LeBron first, then shooting up his three. He shot the three and then looked at LeBron and said, hey, I made that, and then ran back. So I think Kyrie just needs to concentrate on Kyrie and not worry about what LeBron's doing. Is it going to hurt him? Probably. I think them two are not going to hurt each other. I think their bench is going to be really, really soft next week. Next year, they're going to lose a lot of people. J.R. Smith, everyone's saying Kevin
Richard Jefferson.
Of course your runner retired 12 freaking years without a ring. Last time we saw you was 99. Anyways.
I mean, Juwan Howard did the same thing, right?
Didn't I say he
became a coach
in a series too, Richard Jefferson? I think I did say that the last time we had a show. But I think for them two, I think they need someone that's going to complement both of them. Not Kevin Love. I always thought Kevin Love never complimented both of them. It's going to be hard to see. I know you guys are talking about LeBron James. Will he surpass Michael? I think the reason why LeBron James gets not all that haterade. I think just actions that he's done to get where he's at has probably hurt him the most. The decision, telling people I'm going to go play with my boys, Bosh and D Wade. What he does in Cleveland is he could have got coach of the year this year with MVP in the finals. I think that's why he gets the negative. He never saw Magic Johnson or Larry Bird or Michael Jordan pick their teammates. And granted, a lot of them had great draft picks. I mean, look at the Lakers drafting James Worthy, Magic Johnson. They already had Kareem. Same thing with the Bulls. They drafted Scottie Pippen. I mean, granted, they signed Dennis Rodman, but they drafted Tony Kukoc. They just didn't sign these guys and say, hey, Michael wants to play with you guys. Let's go. I think that's why he gets all the haterade and all that hated and not put on that pedestal as the greatness. He can win as many championships he can, but he'll never surpass, I don't think, the Magics and Michaels just because of how he won them.
Ralph, I need to ask you that question. That super team, that whole Chris Paul, and you make a good point because some of his actions are not what makes him loved. He's loved, but within those things, he's not loved. I mean, in the middle of the season when things weren't going Cleveland's way, when they really were going Cleveland's way because they were still top of the Eastern Conference, but it wasn't what he wanted, you start unfollowing your team and then on Twitter and you start making certain comments and then you start talking about, I want a super team with all my friends. Going out to Miami after the game is over, hang with your friends. Any big implications of the fact that Dwayne Wade was there to support his friend in the finals? I mean, great that you're good friends. However, Paul Pierce wasn't going to see Kobe. I mean, does that speak volumes? I mean, it really does. What about that super team now that you declared so much that you wanted to see? When you make certain statements like that, people think that you're looking towards the future. So to them, this might be one and done. If LeBron James wants to say, I did my job and go,
I agree.
What can anybody say to him?
He's well in his right to do that. He's well in his right to do that.
As far as expectations, like you said earlier, I feel like they're always going to expect something from LeBron, but I feel like the city of Cleveland, I feel like, he gave you guys a championship, so I feel like their expectation level should decrease dramatically.
Ralph, let me ask you about this. Cleveland overcomes 3-1 deficit. 52 years since the city of Cleveland has won a top-level professional league championship, which is the longest title drought of any U.S. city. If you thought it was Washington, D.C., eat your heart out. Anyways, if you combine the three major sports teams combined in that city, the Cavaliers, the Browns, and the Indians, that equals 144 seasons without a title. 144. Cleveland, it does not rock. What does that represent to you, Ralph?
I mean, I like the city of Cleveland. It's a fun town. I think that was a big championship for them. I mean, what the Indians are doing now in baseball, first place, I mean, they surpassed the White Sox, who started off hot. I can guarantee the Indians are probably going to make some moves during trade deadline to boost their team. I think they can win a division. I think that just helps the city and other sports finally get the monkey off their back, even though it's not that sport that won. So now that Cleveland won, I mean, what do you think the
Maybe
Indians
Chicago's will do it.
I mean, it's just, hey, look, I mean, it wouldn't surprise people if the Cubs
they're the best team in baseball right now.
Are the team to actually get over the hump.
You still with us, Ralph? We got to move to, because whenever there's a victor, it becomes a spoils. So we got to talk about Golden State, shall we? Their road to get here. Even though it could be, I mean, Dre alluded to the fact that it would have been historical in their own right if they would have won. Their road might have looked a lot easy, but was not that easy. I mean, we talk about last year, if we want to go back and discuss how, and want to discuss, I'm going to come to you later, Raj, and if they want to discuss, they weren't supposed to win last year in a lot of people's eyes. They didn't play a lot of teams that warranted that win last year. Steph Curry, MVP. A lot of people did not believe that a three-point shooting team could last that long in the playoffs. Steve Kerr, first time being a head coach, fairly new. You have a guy, Andre Iguodala, coming off the bench at a pivotal point in the finals, winning MVP. A lot of people thought that was a little crazy because if you're the MVP of the league, you should be MVP, Steph Curry, of the series to be dominant enough to do that. They come in this season. They don't have their head coach due to physical issues, and he had to sit out. Luke Walton comes in, the son of the great Bill Walton, comes in and does his best to lead the team. His best ended up being undefeated. That undefeated will lead to 73-9. There are only 2 losses coming in the playoffs. In a time where, in a season where Kobe was retiring, you had Kobe retiring on one channel, and you had Golden State going for 73 on the other channel. They go on, they move forward, the playoffs ensue. They handily take care of everybody. Oklahoma City gives them this big punch. They come back to a 3-1 deficit and win the series. Steph Curry's hurt. Bogut gets hurt. Any implications, Draymond suspended. Anything that could have went wrong within this historical season, and if they would have overcame it all, you would have had nothing to do but respect Golden State. At this point, 73 wins is not enough. You don't win. Respect Crevante. Is it gone?
I mean, Scottie Pippen might have said it best. It don't mean nothing without that ring. So now 73-9 is just 73-9. That's all, and that's all it is. And it's no slight to Golden State because they had a phenomenal year.
They did.
They had a great year. They had a great run, and especially the way they lost. They was up 3-1. It just sucks because they was all the way up. I mean, we just got finished talking about OJ, the rise and the fall.
Right.
The fall was hard, really hard.
You live by the 3, you die by the 3.
Absolutely.
And you know what? That came into fruition with this series, but it really reminded me of the Patriots. I've heard a lot of people compare it to the Patriots.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
But I mean, I'm saying
with
like
that said, the Warriors joined the 2001 Mariners, the 1901 Cubs, the 1995-96 Red Wings, and 2007 Patriots as a team with great regular season records who could not seal the deal.
Can I add 3 college teams to that too? You have the 2015 Kentucky Wildcats.
What about the
2005-2006 USC Trojans was about to three-peat almost and lost to Texas, and the 2003 Miami Hurricanes that lost to Ohio State.
What about the Oregon Ducks football? How many did they lose?
They undefeated that last year, and they looked at
that was really close. We're checking into that. We're checking into that.
I gotta get to Ralph.
Maybe.
Maybe. We gotta go to Ralph. Ralph, your thoughts on the Warriors? Will they ever be able to go back to the finals?
The whole summer is all gonna go. It's all gonna be based on where Kevin Durant goes. If he stays, if he goes somewhere else, if he jumps. Kevin Durant can change the Eastern and Western Conference picture as we speak right now. I think Golden State can get there. Can they stay healthy? I think they need to make a splash to get that power forward that can provide some scoring. I think that's what they missed. Was a guy in the inside that can get that scoring to get the points like a LaMarcus Aldridge or someone that caliber. I think that's what they're going to miss. I think that's what they're going to need to get back in there. But if Kevin Durant, even if he stays in Oklahoma City, they're going to be up there. You're going to have San Antonio that's going to be up there. So I think it's going to be hard for them to repeat. It's going to be hard for both teams, I think, to go back there and repeat. I think the Eastern Conference is improving. You got the Raptors. That was a little bit of a spark. You think the Celtics are probably going to be up there if they can make some splash. I think both teams. I think it's going to be very hard for both teams to try to repeat.
Let's look at this here. The internet's very funny. The internet is the most hilarious thing that they could have gave us and invented my generation for us to have. These smartphones, these little iPhone devices. Man, when you go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, you don't know what you're going to see. That could make or break your day. You might have had the most awfulest morning. The coffee spilled on your shirt on the way to the job. They made your sandwich wrong at 7-Eleven. You get out, your car won't start because guess what? You didn't put gas in it last night, so you had to go get some gas. You end up 20 minutes late to work. You sit down at your desk. Your boss is kicking in your chops by now. You sit down, you turn on the computer, and the first thing you see is a meme on Twitter, and that made your morning. And guess what I saw? Cam Newton, Steph Curry meme. Both of them on the ground. Let's both start off undefeated. And they were brothers. Yeah. Carolina, Steph Curry, Carolina guy, been to a couple games, hit the drum.
He hit the drums.
Let's both start off undefeated, win the MVP, and lose in the championship. They shake hands and says it's a deal, right?
No.
Ow.
That hurts. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. But the sad reality is that it happened. I'm not saying they made a deal about it or nothing like that, but
and it's
it
the same
happened.
picture that I posted or that was posted about them being that they used saying that they were 33-0 combined at that point. Ouch.
Well, to me, Cam's story is a little different because in that Super Bowl, you could see Cam was ready to ball out.
Hardest.
Steph, he just looked like he just ran out of gas.
And
to me, I don't think because when he asked, he never talked about the injuries, so I don't think Steph used it as an excuse.
As a top athlete, you're not supposed to.
But to me, I think that he just legit ran out of gas. I think what happened was the 73 wins getting there was a toll. Then remember he had a Game 7 in a prior series.
Previously, yeah.
And they was down 3-1 then. So that takes a lot of energy too.
So I think all that accumulates to Steph just running out of gas in that series. And like I said, with Cam, he
question. Despite Golden State losing, for the fact that you guys got to remember, Stephen Curry is from Akron, Ohio. Should he still be happy that the state of Ohio finally brought back a championship?
No.
Whoop-de-doo. However, I played for Golden State.
Because he was just born. He was just born in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
His roots are in Carolina. His roots are in Carolina.
There's another question involved in this too. I mean, we spent a lot of and at any time, Raj, get in this conversation, bro.
Well, I was gonna say I lost my train of thought. After what Terrell said, he said about Akron. I mean, to me, Asia Curry's wife and Draymond Green, fisticuffing LeBron didn't help his situation at all. It just put more pressure on Steph Curry for after Game 5. So.
And it's interesting you say that because LeBron James has faced a lot of scrutiny, but to a degree, LeBron James is you would kind of expect that. But LeBron James also gives a lot of scrutiny. He said a lot of things about Steph's team. He says a guy that gets a lot of public opinion does not waver on his own public opinion. Whereas Steph Curry does not look to give any opinion at all. When you say something about him or say something about anybody, I thought it was pretty funny how he said, I need to take the Wi-Fi out of my house. Because obviously my wife is going crazy on social media. I think it's pretty funny when you ask him what the greats have come out of nowhere all of a sudden. You ask Isaiah Thomas about him. You ask Magic about him. You ask Gary Payton, anybody. They got something bad to say about him. And he's a perimeter shooter. It's not his fault that nobody's challenging him and playing defense on him. You got to bring a big guy out to play defense on him. You still aren't playing. Kyrie Irving, what did he really do but make Steph Curry play defense? He didn't play any defense of his own. Tristan Thompson played defense. Kevin Love played defense on Steph Curry. But yet all the scrutiny that comes, and this is very quickly, a lot of scrutiny comes to Steph Curry for a guy that's not really looking to. He sticks to himself. I kind of feel bad, not to make him the victim.
No, he's an easy target. He's an easy target. We can keep poking at. Let's keep poking at him because we might get something good.
That babyface assassin, you do not.
And then what happened? He threw that mouthpiece. Like, oh, we got one. Here's something.
It was about to.
There you go.
He went the last time he was ejected from a game or something. What was that? November 2015.
Technical foul.
Technical foul, something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, fouled out. Excuse me.
That was November 2015.
About 3 years ago.
20, something like that.
In this series, LeBron actually lived up to what he said also when he said there's a difference between the MVP and the best player, and LeBron James showed you why he's still the best player in basketball in this series.
Ralph, you're still on the line. Give me 1 minute of all you got as far as the series is concerned.
For me, it was what I thought I was going to see. I thought LeBron was going to come out in the second half of the series. I thought it was going to be 4, 5, and 6, and I was going to win my bet in 6 games. Like I said, it's not 7. But I was off by a game. I just thought he was going to just need to take over the game, which he did. I thought what we saw games 5, 6, and 7, we're probably not going to see in the NBA Finals in a long, long time. It was something I thought I wasn't going to see from him, but he did show up and he won. And nice cash ticket, my plus 180. I was like the only underdog out there in multiple radio shows and stuff that I said that they were going to win. People laughed, and I was actually, to be honest with you, I was actually shocked that I cashed that ticket being down 3-1. I thought it was over but either the NBA guys or the gambling guys or someone. But it was a great 7-game series. We saw what we saw, and Cleveland finally has a championship.
Who has the last laugh now? Ralph, you, baby.
Look,
you. And
we-
that popcorn, man, if you ever need a Game 7, if you ever need a playoffs as crazy as this one, and I'm sorry to give you the bearer of bad news, but basketball is over. The dog days of summer begin.
As I would say, the dog days of sports.
Dog days of sports begin. We come close. We have the Olympics, Rio de Janeiro, baby. So we got a lot to look forward to. And you got a lot to look forward to because guess what? The Flex Zone will be back next week. Please get ready for our NBA Finals post-game show. Me, Byron, Cavante, Dre. We're going to sit on the panel. We're going to give you everything you got. We're going to give you the X and the O's because we didn't discuss it this time. We're going to give you that work. Anyways, the show's over, people. We want to thank True Sounds for our theme song. Don't forget to like us on our Facebook page, Flex Zone. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, at the Flex Zone 1. If you have any questions, ideas, or pops, we want to be a guest, send us an email to theflexzone1@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Flex Zone, to hear the show again. Listen to the podcast on SoundCloud or on iTunes. Tonight's show is executively produced by Andre Melton. Our senior producer is Crevante Hurd. And, of course, you know, I'm the host. Our coordinating producer is Sophia. Social media coordinator is Bree. Engineer is Ty in the back. Hello. Videographer and other intern is Terrell. You heard him on the air. And I'm going to say it like I said every week. I don't care if it rhymes. It's mine. I'm Mikkel, like Kevin McHale. And D, you know you got to take over because Byron's not here. The show is what, boy?
With that, we go.
We out. We go. It's over.
Peace.